Hey guys, it's Sam with two M's, and welcome to this MYXclusive interview. Hello to everyone watching. And as you guys can see, I have a very special guest here with me. She is the singer-songwriter who brought us all the feels with her song Beginning, Middle, End, which is featured on the official soundtrack of To All the Boys, Always and Forever. So everyone, please welcome Leah Nobel.
Hi.
Hi, Leah. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're so excited. But how have you been, first of all? How's life?
Life has been very crazy in a good way. I
Mhm.
definitely did not really expect the movie to be received the way that it has, and for my
Mhm.
song to be received that way. It's been, a tremendous gift.
Mhm.
And I've really enjoyed the past couple weeks, but they've been
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the best part. Like you weren't expecting it to like go the way that
No,
it did, and
not
it
at all.
actually ended up that way. So I think that's the best part about it. But aside from that, of course, what have you been up to aside from, of course, promoting the song and like the movie? But aside from that, what have you been up to?
Yeah, well, I'm currently living on a farm. So
Mhm.
I've been,
Wow.
I don't have any animals yet, but
Mhm.
I've been working on building a garden and doing stuff like that in my
Mhm.
personal time. But other
Mhm.
than that, I am working on some new music that's going to be released soon. And I'm always writing and um, usually collaborating with people once or twice a week in the
Mhm.
mix of things. So it's been
Mhm.
it's been good, very fun.
Wow, I'm so low key jealous of this whole farm life that you're
Yeah,
building. Yeah, that's amazing.
it's
I
a
love
good
that.
it's a good
Mhm.
time to be somewhere beautiful, especially because we're all still kind of sheltering
Mhm.
in place, and so it's nice to be somewhere peaceful.
Yeah, definitely. And a farm, I think, sounds like the best place to actually do all of that. But I'm so excited for you because, of course, Beginning, Middle, End is doing so great. So many people around the world love it. Like I was just telling you, people in the Philippines also love Beginning, Middle, End. So how does it feel for you that your music has reached all corners of the world?
It feels amazing. I
Mhm.
feel exceptionally grateful for
Mhm.
technology. I mean, without
Mhm.
the streaming services and social media, this,
Mhm.
wouldn't have been possible in the same way. So, yeah, I feel very grateful, and
Mhm.
it's really amazing to connect with people from all over the world. I have gotten so many kind messages from
Mhm.
people in my DMs on Instagram and on TikTok and all that
Mhm.
from all over the world, and it's just special.
hmm Yeah, and I'm sure you've touched a lot of people through your music, and it was just really cool. I was actually watching an interview that you had, and you said that you were originally approached with the idea for the song, but you didn't know what movie it was for or what franchise it was for. So could you kind of take us through that process and how you actually started working on Beginning, Middle, End?
Yeah, so that's correct. I
hmm
received what is called a brief, which is
hmm
basically a note from the music supervisor of the film that said that they were looking for optimistic, feel good
hmm
love songs. And in the brief, it gave some themes and some keywords that they wanted addressed in the song, but I didn't know what I was writing for.
hmm
So yeah, the brief was sort of our North Star for the day. I wrote beginning, middle, end with Quinn Redman,
hmm
who is a songwriter and a producer, and we sort of used that as like our map for writing.
hmm
But then I had the title beginning, middle, end saved in my phone, in my notes app.
Oh, no way!
I don't know where it came
hmm
from. I am always like collecting ideas and
hmm
titles. So yeah, I kind of pitched that to Quinn, and he's like, "Oh, that's really cool." So
hmm
with the title and the information from the brief, we were sort of able to build out the structure of a song, and I
hmm
think the rest we sort of pulled from stories from our personal lives. And
hmm
I think that what makes this song feel honest.
Yeah, and I love that you already had the title in your notes. So I can only
Yeah.
imagine what your notes look like. I can just imagine like all the stuff that you save there. But that's really cool because you were given a brief and you kind of used that, like what you said, as the North Star for the song. But I also do want to know, like, how do you think you can personally relate to the song? Since you did mention like you used a lot of your personal
Yeah.
experience too for this one.
Well, I wanted to write a happy love song, but not
Mhm,
one that was purely based in fantasy. And I think
mhm,
that's really important to me as a writer and as a person to recognize that, yeah, love is beautiful and worth it, but love is messy. It's hard
mhm,
work. It often does not play out, like you think it's
yeah,
going to.
mhm,
And so I think some of that realness was inserted into the song. That was important to me. And I think it was important to the characters and to all the boys because of their sort of journey that they go through
mhm.
in the movie. They needed something like real to sort of to anchor them.
Yeah, that's actually really true now that you're talking about how,
Yeah.
romance can be and love can be a little bit messy. Kind of like in the movie, they went through a lot of trials and challenges,
Yeah.
Peter and Lara Jean. So I feel like it's very relatable to a lot of people, not just like in the movie, but to everyone too. So what was your
Yeah.
reaction when you found out that was actually for the To All the Boys movie series on Netflix?
I was thrilled. I
Mhm.
was really excited. I also had this part of me that was like, oh, this isn't going to go through because
Oh no.
basically movies change their mind a lot. There's a lot of
Hmm.
people working on films and they'll like cut entire scenes and or like one day the director wakes up and they're like, "No, I want something different." So
Hmm.
I was certainly like very excited, but I was
Hmm.
also like, "Let's see if this actually happens." So
Hmm.
it was a pleasant surprise and I'm glad
Hmm.
that it did work out and yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, it's really cool that you really weren't expecting
No.
how it went. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's like the best feeling I can imagine. But I'm sure after pushing through with the project, I'm sure you had to kind of change or tweak a few things about the song. So how close was the
Yeah.
final to the actual demo that you guys created?
It's a great question because
Mhm,
so the pop version, that's the sort of single that you guys have probably heard the most,
mhm,
was sort of the closest to the demo out of any version.
mhm,
It's definitely kind of dialed up a bit. The demo is kind of more indie sounding,
mhm,
rough. But
mhm,
the Always and Forever version, which is the version that's also on the soundtrack, but it's the last song, that
mhm.
song was changed so many times in the span of a year and a half.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we changed chords, we changed the tempo, we added parts and subtracted parts. It was a very
Wow.
long process.
Mhm,
And part of the reason why is because it really had to be the perfect complement for that scene.
mhm,
And
mhm.
we added this whole orchestral part.
Yes.
And yeah, and we got to see some footage when we were working on it, which was really helpful. Yeah,
Mhm.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really fun, but it was so crucial because
Mhm.
it gave us a lot of context and information
Mhm.
about where we needed to go next with the
Yeah.
production. Yeah.
And that's so cool that I mean, I can imagine, yeah, like it would be really helpful to see some of the scenes because a lot of the scoring for a movie is like really, really important, of course. Like,
Oh yeah.
it helps deliver the emotion of the scene and all of that. So it's really cool that you guys were really trying to like get the perfect song for that scene into All the
Yeah.
Boys. And like, as you mentioned, there are different versions of beginning, middle, end, and there's also a version of the greeting committee. So how does it feel
Yeah.
to like have that version too? Like, what was your reaction when you heard their version?
I think it's really cool. I
Mhm,
have sort of recently been connected with Addie, who is the lead
mhm,
singer of the greeting committee, and we've had a fun time sort of being connected by this song. And
mhm,
it's always cool when someone does a cover of something that you write.
mhm,
It's fun to notice how everyone puts their own personal twist on it, and
mhm,
I think they did a really good job. And I also think that their role in the movie just feels really believable. Like they are the type of band who would have been at that party. And so
Yes.
in the NYU scene, if you've seen the film, but
Yeah, it's so true.
yeah, I think they did a great job. So I'm happy that we're connected through that song.
Yeah, and I'm sure you created like a lot of lasting like work connections too through
Yeah.
working on this movie too. But before we talk more about your music, actually, a lot of people are saying that "Beginning, Middle, End" will forever be the song of Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky. So how does it feel, or what are your thoughts on having your song immortalized like in pop culture as that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like people love these two, and now your song
No.
kind of like goes with them.
I think it's amazing. I think that something I noticed through the past 3 weeks, just observing people's reactions to the film, is how emotionally invested everyone is in these characters in their lives. And I feel like they're very genuine and relatable characters. So I'm happy to be associated with them. I feel honored. I'd rather, write a song that represents, two really awesome characters than like a theme song for a scary villain or something.
That's true.
No, I mean, I just feel lucky, and I feel like the movies have made a genuine impact on people, and that's always a lovely thing to be associated with.
Yes, definitely. And I love the two of them too. So now
Yeah.
that like I associate your song with them. But now that a lot of people are hearing more of your music, I'm sure a lot of
Mhm.
people would also like to know how you actually started making music. So what was like your first memory of music or like trying to create songs?
So I've always loved music. I started singing when I was very young, but I am not someone who had the dream of being a
Oh,
singer.
yeah.
It was just something that I enjoyed. So it's kind of funny almost that I've wound up here. Just like everything I've talked about so far, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I just sort of this happened. It didn't just it didn't just happen, but
Mhm.
I started writing songs when I was about 18.
Mhm.
Um, and the first song I wrote was about my high school relationship and being dumped.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. And I think at that time I thought I was taking guitar lessons at the time, and my teacher was really encouraging me to write music. And I was thinking like, oh gosh, that sounds so hard. And then this thing happened in my life where I needed a therapeutic outlet to deal with it. And when I tried writing a song to deal with those emotions, it actually came very easily to me. And that kind of just kickstarted my interest in writing music.
Wow, I love that everything you've been sharing. It's just like you never thought this would actually
No.
happen, and it just
Yeah.
happened. So crazy how the universe works, right? Like it's
Yes,
just
that's life,
let's just
right?
yeah, exactly. Let's just see where this goes. But I also saw that aside from your music as Leah
Yeah.
Nobel, you also have like an alt pop kind of alter ego, if that's right.
Yeah,
But could you tell us more about
sure.
this alt pop act that you have?
Yes, her name is Hale,
Mhm.
Hael,
Mhm.
and she is definitely my sassier, edgier, darker side. Um, yeah, I really get a lot of joy out of being creative and experimenting sonically and lyrically, and she gives me a lot of freedom to make things that I wouldn't want to make. I feel like I sound crazy talking about her, like I have multiple personalities, but
Mhm.
to me, she really is like a different person. And when I
Mhm.
perform as her, I dress as her too, and she looks completely different than I do.
Mhm.
She wears a black wig.
Wow,
Yeah.
I love that. Like it's really a float, like a full blown like alter ego. So what kind of made you decide
Yes.
to like kind of split the two, like two kinds of music too?
Yeah, I think that I really like experimenting creatively, and I can change my voice pretty radically. And
Oh, no way.
yeah, and it's
Mhm.
confusing to people. Like there if I if I wanted to be as creative as
Mhm.
I am now and I was doing it all under my name, I think
Mhm.
it just like people wouldn't be able to follow. It would be confusing or kind of like a scattered message. And so it was really just to kind of separate these two sides of me, the side of me that likes to write kind of quieter, more introspective music. And that's me as a person. And then this character that I play. So it's really fun. If you don't have an alter ego, I highly recommend.
I know.
creating
I'm thinking of creating. I can imagine like the freedom that you have with creating an alter ego and kind of just like going all out and like experimenting with like the music that you would want to make. But you said like, you know, you get really creative, especially during these times. I feel like the last year we've been at home, we've gone through a lot of emotions, and creativity is something that can really come and go. But how do you, Leah, stay creative throughout everything that's been going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I am relaxed about it. And so I think that's very helpful, because I feel like the more pressure you feel, the more writer's block you get, or the harder everything seems. And I feel like I've just been given a gift, and I feel very fortunate that ideas come easily to me, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes I have days where I'm just like, this isn't working. And if it feels too hard, I usually just stop writing what I'm writing. And sometimes that song just dies and I never come back to it. Or sometimes the next day I wake up and I feel revitalized. I'm ready to work on it again. So yeah, I think if you can cultivate kind of an easiness while you create things, it will pay you back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like especially now everyone feels this kind of pressure to stay productive and stay creative. So I think kind of taking out that pressure and like really just trying to see where things go, like what like what you've been telling us, like just seeing where things go. Eventually it'll actually come. And you said that you've been working on a lot of music during this time. So now that we've heard beginning, middle, end, and so many people are excited for your other music too, what can we expect coming from you, Leah?
Well, I am working on an EP. So it's a 5-song release, and I don't know when it's going to come out, but I know that it's going to be soon. And so, yeah, it's kind of a nice stepping stone from beginning, middle, end. You know, if you've listened to anything in my back catalog, you know that I can kind of go anywhere from like a mellow pop song to a folk song. I like kind of experimenting with a mix of like organic instruments and more electronic. So yeah, I really think this EP is, like I said, a nice stepping stone from beginning, middle, end. And there's some love songs on there, but they're different. And yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to put new music out.
Yeah, I'm sure so many people are so excited too. But I also want to know, Leah, like, is there a part of you that feels any kind of like pressure, especially after like people hearing beginning, middle, end, and kind of the excitement for more of your music to come out? Do you feel any kind of like nervousness when you're like working on music, or is it totally fine for you?
I think that I've just gotten to a point in my career, in my life, where there's not a lot I can control. So like I can't control people's opinions about it. I can't control how it might be interpreted. All I can control is like, do I like it? Did I get joy out of making this? So I don't feel nervous. I think I'm just excited.
Yes, and I'm sure so many people are excited for it too, and within reason, because beginning, middle, end is so great, and we can't wait to hear everything else that you're cooking up. But before I do let you go, do you have a message to everyone who loves beginning, middle, end, and everyone who's just been listening to your music and supporting your music?
Yes, I just want to say thank you so much for your love and support, and for listening to beginning, middle, end like you have. I'm so grateful for you guys, and I hope that I get to visit the Philippines sometime soon.
Yes, and we would be so glad to have you, and we can't wait when everything's okay to have you over
Yes.
here. So we can't wait for that. But for now, we will just stream beginning, middle, end, and all of your music until that day comes. So thank you so much, Leah Nobel, for joining me
Yeah.
today. It was so great getting to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a
Of course.
blast.
Yes, and thank you to everyone too who joined on this MYXclusive interview. Once again, this has been Leah Nobel and Sam with 2 Bye, guys.